Hello and welcome back to another DTO video. Today's a little bit different. Today is something that I actually haven't done before. I am going to be making a video playing DTO cash games. It is currently Halloween night in Ireland on the time of this recording, and what could be scarier than watching me trying to make the right decision in cash games? I'm not going to lie to you. I am not very good at cash games. I am probably going to struggle a little bit. But I have set a goal that in the next year to 18 months, I will be able to play in the Zoom 500 pools and they won't multiply by like 4 or 5x people in the player pools. It might not be that drastic, but oftentimes I'll sit down, there's 30 players in the player pool, all of a sudden there's 60. Yes, I am a recreational player when it comes to cash games, but I want to get better. And hopefully, if you watch this video, you are going to be able to get better as well. We are going to play a spot, which is 100 big blinds deep, which, you know, the vast majority of spots in cash games are going to be, not the same as poker tournaments where you are constantly dealing with varying stack sizes, lots of different stack sizes on the table. Usually it's going to be close to an average of 100 big blinds in each spot. Of course, you'll get the occasional short stacker. You're going to get players who span their stack up. But for the most part, we're going to be playing 100 big blind poker. And today's spot is going to be big blind versus button. Now, I'm pretty inexperienced in cash, but as you can see, here are the ranges. We are not going to have 9s plus. We are not going to have some of this suited stuff. All of this offsuit stuff, though, that's just going in the bin. Obviously, in cash games, not always, but for the most part, there's not going to be any antes. We're less incentivized to defend these weaker offsuit hands. And of course, on top of all that, we are, in this case, going to be 100 big blinds deep against a usually pretty good player. So like we don't need to get involved with all this. As you can see, a lot of mixing going on here in the suited region. These ones are going to be pure 3-bets. This stuff's pure. A lot of the offsuit broadways are mixing quite heavily. But I mean, like, I wouldn't fold Queen 8. I don't think this is going into a 3-bet range. I'm pretty sure that is just a pure fold, which is, you know, not something I'm used to. This is all folding, right? Look at this weaker suited stuff. I don't fold a suited hand in a big blind in a tournament. And as we look at the button range, excuse me, there we go. Yeah, I mean, this looks pretty reasonable. I would open a little bit wider in most tournament situations, but this seems fine. So we're just going to get into it. Am I going to make some mistakes here? Obviously. But hopefully we can learn and get a little bit better at cash games. We are going to start by checking here. And I feel like this is too weak to fold. The question is, should we check raise? Should we check call? And if we are going to check raise, kind of what size do we go for? How much is that going to change? I'm actually just going to start with a call. And whilst maybe some leading on this turn occasionally, I don't want to do it with this hand. And I don't really have a choice but to bluff. So the question is, what? I mean, maybe that's wrong. Maybe I do have a choice. Maybe I've got enough showdown value here. But when I think of my hands that are going to check all the flop, we're not at the very bottom of our range, but our queen 10s and our queen 9s and the likes like 9-10 of diamonds, whatever, I would probably check raise them a lot. So we're pretty far down. So we just got to decide, what are we targeting? When they check back the turn, I think they're super capped. But when I don't check raise the flop, I'm not sure how many strong hands I have. I mean, I guess I can have 2 pairs. I can have straights. This or this is what I would go for. Did I fold all our ace highs for this size? Because we want to block here with a 4, I think. I think we can even block here with a good tray. They can, of course, have stuff like 5, 6s all the way up as far as 9s, but I think it should double barrel a lot. So I'm just going to go with the small size. Is this a check? Oh, God, it's too strong. Okay, it's too strong. Let me just see. Is this the size that we would be betting with the kind of bluffs that I was aiming for? So as you can see, King 10 slides in here. King 8 slides in here. Queen 10 slides in here. And then the bigger size, we do have some jacks, right? Look, we have a decent amount of queen jack, got jack 10, queen 10. So, like, I don't think I was too far off on my assessment with the sizes, but King Queen just a little too strong. King Jack even going to be checking sometimes too. I guess just not the most efficient bluff. So I told you there would be lots of mistakes, and straight off the bat, we've only gone and made one. Hopefully they bet and we have a straightforward decision. I just want to check on this board for the imposition player. Is there a chunk of checking? Because when I look at this board, I would probably want to bet on the slightly larger side and not... Okay, so they don't even give two options here and not use a smaller bet. So I was thinking like this size or check, and as you can see, DTO has decided to simplify it because in some situations, it's very hard to learn split strategies. And DTO is just not trying to overcomplicate things. It's like, look, this board is a bigger, better check. We're not going to confuse you. Just learn it. Obviously, it could make it more difficult if it wanted, but it's just, this tool is designed to get you better at the game. It's not designed to complicate your life. So as you can see here, there's a lot of checking going on 9-7 tray, which I think translates over to tournaments as well. This is maybe a little bit heavier on the check. Decent chunk of the top pairs that can't go for 3 streets, that don't want to get 100 big blinds in, are going for checks. No checking here with this region. I'm actually surprised on this board to see aces checking as frequently. Like, I probably wouldn't find that much, I'm not going to lie. All right, so we have so far been in the big blind every spot. I do want to check if we have it set up correctly in a moment. I'm not going to bet here. Is my hand good enough to block? I'm not sure, but I'm going to try. All right, so on the river, mostly checking. On the turn, a little bit of betting. I'm interested again. This is mostly for me, but hopefully you can pick up something. I want to check how much we're checking, because I would bet this board a lot. As you can see, the larger size comes in. If I was playing tournaments, I actually would play 2 sizings on this board probably, which might not be good, but I would. But here it's just going for the bigger bet and the check, and aces checking. Just trying to see what's the strongest kind of hands are checking. I guess ace 10. Aces make sense. Kings occasionally. King Queen, I just never going to find a check personally. 9s, 10s, these hands make sense. Jacks kind of make sense. Okay. It's not that complicated. And we are on the button, so we don't need to check it out. So, this board. Overbet is the only size we have. God damn, son. See, I would definitely like to bet this a lot. And I would bet it for a large size sometimes. But I definitely want to be doing it all the time. I'm going to check. Am I an idiot? Not yet, but we might end up being one. I don't want to turn this into a bluff. And against 1.4. I mean, they don't have as wide of a range as they do when they're playing tournaments, right? So they don't have as many bluffs. Feels kind of close. It's very annoying. I'm going to look it up, but I'm not sure. King, Queen. So, yeah, it likes to do a lot of folding. It is pure checking. So much checking on ace-9 tray. I do think that's a product of the overbet being the only size. Like, we would have more betting here if we had a smaller size, right? It wouldn't be this much checking. But it's very interesting to note. Like, we are checking a lot of ace-x. 100% kings. A lot of aces. All right. We move on. 3 in a row, by the way. Don't call me the Cash Game Pro. I will go for a small bet. I would not hate checking here, though. Okay. I'm surprised that it's pure check. I would check it a decent amount, but I'm surprised that we can't get away. Wow. So, are all of my straight draws checking? So, we got Jack 10. 9-10, obviously a little bit more efficient as a bet. Jack 9. It's only betting when it's a flush, so let me look at the checks. I'm on the wrong side. So 9-10 is just checking. No, bets a bit though, right? They all bet a little bit. Jack 9 checking pure unless it's a flush. Okay. All right, noted. We probably bet too much. Our C bet's probably going to be a little too high for God, I would never use that size, but I mean, it's only pot, and we're 100 big blinds deep. Maybe it is that size. This feels real small, but I'm going to use it. Yeah, just pot it. Don't use this little sissy size. Let's start getting some chips in the pot. Let's start playing for stacks. Again, something that I wouldn't use that size a lot. So it's interesting to note. My fundamentals for cash games are probably on par with someone who's played poker for about 25 minutes. So we are going to be trying to learn here. I'm obviously not going to be able to take it all in at once. That'd be impossible. If I could, I wouldn't need to use DTO. I would have just watched Dom playing one time when he's streaming live on Twitch, and I would have had it all down. All right, well, our best in a row apparently is 10. Good flop. Anyone want to go? Can I check raise on that turn still? I definitely can. Now, whether I should, I'm not sure. Okay, we shouldn't. Just likes betting. Just starting to put some chips in. I wonder if I change that to the 9 of hearts, would we get away with check raise a little bit more? Or does it just want to start putting the chips in? I'm obviously just thinking check raise, get all the chips in, but as I explain to people on my stream regularly enough, sometimes trying to be too trappy, it's not good. No bueno. Just start putting some chips in. I'm going to go with pot. They have a lot of ace-x. They're going to have some flush draws. I'm getting destroyed. Oh, God. I hope Dom never watches this video and enjoys it as much as I know he will. 2-10 to go for 2 streets. Find a check. I would definitely check here sometimes, but the big size and just not a thing. I need to explore their checking ranges a little bit more as well, because that's where I feel like we're going to struggle. This one, tough. Because yes, I have an open-ended straight draw and a pair, but like my straights aren't very good. Could be drawn dead. Still going to call because I'm an idiot. And I'm out on the turn. I want to see if this is any folding on the flop. Yeah, okay. So it felt really, really dicey. It feels like it's worked close to 0. A little bit of check raising. I'm not into that. It does fold a lot. As you can see here, it even folds like some Jack X and even the worst Queen X. Like when we have Queen 7 of clubs here, what do we want to happen? Do we want to turn a 7? I mean, it feels like you do, but then you got 2 pair and they still have a lot of stronger hands, and then we're putting more chips in. We're 100 big blinds deep. You got to keep remembering that. It's the 100 big blinds deep. A lot of things can go wrong when you put in with weak hands. But with the open-ended straight draw, I do decide to call. I'm going to assume that we can check this. And I'm going to assume that we can check again and go for a delayed bluff, because I don't particularly want to bet here twice, and they are going to check a reasonable amount of strong hands here still and, you know, protect their range, which means that we're just going to be kind of firing off into the abyss. Now, naturally, we're going to bluff here. Versus a check, do I have to bet on the larger side, or do I bet on the smaller side? I am going to go for pot. Alright, we only got good. Where did I mess up? River prefers the small size. It actually likes betting the flop. I assume it leans towards betting slightly more here when we have a backdoor flush draw, and it's just like these hands are just dust, right? These hands are utter garbage and I don't want to put too many chips in, but I do want to be mixing in some bets. Alright, good to know. I am coming in with an aggressive check fold. We seen ourselves when it was me on the button on the monotone board that there is a lot of checking going on here. Okay, so not surprised to see a check. Not going to bluff ace high. I've got so many worse hands here. Probably not going to win a huge amount, but I don't think we bluff, right? 100% check. A little bit of bluff in the turn. This seems pretty straightforward. We will examine once more the DTO range on the flop here, because look how much checking there is. That is a lot of hands. I assume wrong. I was going to say I assume we don't check a flush too often, but holy moly. The nut flush. 100 big blinds deep. You're checking it. You're balancing your range. You're playing perfectly. Or even checking the... Wow, that's crazy, dude. I don't do that. I'm not good at this game. This game is really, really tough. Alright, I would expect to see big bets or checking on this board. I don't want to bet. I hate my life. I'm going to see a river card. I'm going to check. I don't think I lead, do I? I have way more fours than them. No, we're not leading. Against that size, we are definitely check raising. So, I am close to positive that they do not have 10s or 8s. I would be so shocked. Maybe you check tens little tiny bit of the time now, so they are pretty capped. I can't really have both sider though. I'm just trying to decide how greedy we're going. This is the pot, kind of slightly off, right? Pot be about 45 or whatever. All in feels greedy, but tempting. We go for the pot size raise. They do have top pair. Yeah, it likes pot, likes checking. There is some leading, right? Because we just have a lot more fours. Like they don't check back the flop and then pot a 4 on the turn. That's just not a thing. Interesting. I want to check what their range is and just see, do they, again, there's so much more checking. 10s does check a decent amount. 8s never checks. And obviously 4s never check. So yeah, they can have a boat occasion. Honestly, like maybe they would take this size on the river with a 10, but like over 10s, it's just insignificant and doesn't really matter. They do check again. These are these spots, right? Like this is a board where you want to do some big betting, as you can see here. Like look at all that big betting. And like don't get me wrong, like top pairs are going in there, but sometimes you want to check them because you can't always just empty with these hands, right? You can't. I mean, you can't put 100 big blinds in with those hands at all, but. So you just got to mix some of them into your checking range, and just to protect your range as well, right? 5 hands in a row. Let's get the fin finger wags out for the lads. I am going to examine just again because I think there's going to be a lot of checking on this board. Like, look, just visualize all that checking. Look at all that checking. That is a lot of checking. And this is going to be a hand that is quite straightforward to play. Anyone want to go for a check raise again, even though it didn't work last time? Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah. It doesn't hate the check raise here. It likes a block on the river. Pot, not so much. I mean, it makes sense. They have a very, very weak range. Yeah. All right. And if they have a 7, obviously they're always going to raise versus size, which they can. And then we get the 3-bet the river. My streak is over. I'm not surprised. I am going to mix this one. This time I'm going to bet. I think I'd actually mostly bet this one though. So let's see. As you can see, 79% bet, 21% check. Has a strong... It does seem to like the king of diamonds or a 10 diamonds a bit more, but it's not never doing it without, so it's not, it's not make or break as to decide whether we're going to bet big or not. All right, let's see if we can get a 10 streak before this is over. King 7-5. I'm just always betting this, and I don't think that we would 3-bet this board too often, and I don't really think I want to do it with this hand. But that is something I want to examine because I am not familiar with 100 big blind poker, like I've been pretty honest about. This is interesting. This is a turn that I would say on average is better for them than me. The question now is how many chips do I want to put in? We could go small, big, but like I feel like we just kind of have the best hand once they check the turn. And I just want to put some more chips in, right? So yeah, it doesn't hate small, it doesn't hate checking. A little bit of checking on the flop. There actually is a little bit of 3-betting here. I want to see, do we use the sets? Yeah, okay, so like about 20% of the time, 7s and 5s, we're going to click it back. Just start trying to put a lot of chips in. King Queen is obviously a pretty good hand. Aces, I think, makes a little bit more sense because we don't block the kings so they can continue to put chips in. But I would, as a default, mostly call there, but probably got to find check sometimes. Queen 9-5 with these sizing options. I actually like checking this hand. Against 1.8, I am not ready to fold just yet. I'm just trying to think if I have worse hands. I mean, it feels like about as bad as it gets, right? Do I want to be able to bet a set or 2 pair here? If my 2 pair was queen 8, maybe queen 7, pocket 7s. I'm gonna go half pot. I'm all in. I got jacked in. Okay, I fold. I just want to check the river. Is it always betting? Yes. The sizing, not so much. The turn though is a fold a lot of the time. Okay. Do I fold ace king? I do not. Okay. I guess we bet ace king a little bit more on the flop. Nope. Okay, so why was the... Let me just look at this river card again. Or was it the turn? Sorry, so DTO bet. And then we called. Okay, sorry, I was obviously on the wrong moment. I thought I seen a no ace king there. So I was like, how do we not have ace king? All right, well, reasonably play hand. Turn a little bit on the dicey side. Ace, 8, 7. I don't see much point in betting here. I'm up for blocking. Anyone else for blocking? Raise your hands. All right, 4 in a row. We actually have the best hand. I think this is a pretty standard one. We can look if you want very quickly to see how much DTO is checking, and the answer is an absolute boatload. A huge amount of checking going on there. Okay, 4 hands in a row though. I am going to bet with the deuces, and I'm just going to fold. The one thing that is worth noting if you're an MTT player like myself, or maybe if you're a cash game player who's unfamiliar, those raise sizes are a lot bigger than we would normally see. Like that's almost a 6x, so 5.5x. That's pretty big. I know we're 100 big blinds deep, but it's still worth noting. This one is pretty straightforward. 4 in a row. That is 3 fingers. I do not deserve to get it right. 4 in a row, and we will be happy. Actually, I want to get 11. With a diamond, I wouldn't fold. Without a diamond, I'm going to fold. Let me see if that would be correct. Or do we find folds with the diamonds? Not the king of diamonds, but the queen of diamonds, yes. Big difference. King of diamonds, we're going nowhere. The sizing's not really used. Sorry, it is. Just not with this hand. Alright, so king of diamonds we call, queen diamonds we don't. I would probably have got sticky with both. But again, I'm not used to playing this stacked up. I would have check raised here. I'm not blocking on a queen. I would have blocked on like a low card, but not on a queen. Alright, check. They just showed down a king jack. We need 3 in a row to set our record for the most right. Alright, easy. No check raise. Any overbetters? Thinking of 9, thinking of ace 9, thinking of 9-7. Maybe no overbetters. Maybe it's a little bit too thin. I wish I could give you some insight and tell you what size I think is best here. I like betting big. Like this doesn't feel big enough to me. I kind of like 2x pot. I don't think I'm capped at betting pot when I bet pot on the turn. Alright, I went for it. Likes checking. We're going for a check raise. Also likes checking here. I wish I could give you a little bit more insight, and maybe DTO won't be too happy about me saying this, but I'm just very new to the cash game scene, and I just can't. I'm going to be completely honest. But we'll move on. This one in a tournament would be a lot of check raising going on. I got to check. It feels like it's worth pot. But I do know we want to block here a lot. And we probably can't never have an ace. But is this ace just too strong? I'm going to say it is. Just feels a little bit too good. I actually prefer it's going bigger or checking. It is a little too good. If you look at our pre-flop range versus the button open, you will see that we don't have much better than ace 10, right? We don't have ace jack suited. We don't really have ace jack off. So this is like our nuttiest ace that we're going to have. Like obviously in that case, we could have had 2 pairs, but it's a pretty strong hand. All right, we've played 25 hands, but I want to try and get a streak going. I want to get 11 in a row. There's no guarantees I'm going to get that, obviously. This is not really worth talking about too much. We just have Queen Jack. Check. Do I want to bluff? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. This time no. River, I am going to have a block. And unfortunately, we are going to lose. The turn is pure check. No, sometimes yes, sometimes no. River, actually, we do not always bet either. I probably over bluff both spots because I should never bet the turn. I don't think I actually would have bet the turn that much just because like our hand, if we're being efficient with bluffs, like we're bluffing a king high that can't improve, right? We're not going to river a king and then want to bet again, really. So I probably actually would mostly check this in game. I'm going to bet. I don't know if there's going to be top 2 checking here. It wouldn't surprise me, but I wouldn't find it. Okay. It's good to know that there's not. I think aces would be a quite natural check, right? Like from time to time, not a lot. But yeah, as you can see, 22%. 9s and 8s on this particular board, it just feels like you're burning money to not start putting all the chips in. So against 1.9, I'm not going to fold, but in a cash game, maybe this is a little too wide. Again, it feels very, very easy when you're not as deep and you have a wider range. You have to defend a little more, but in cash games, I'm never as certain. It doesn't fold, though. It's good to know, right? I just wouldn't fold this, but it wouldn't have surprised me if it's like, you're an idiot. Mostly checking, sometimes betting. Would be my thesis here. I feel like it's too weak to check back, flop, full turn. So we're going to call it. I don't think we're going to rep a 9 here. I definitely have some 9x. Would I raise the nut flush? I don't think so. Do I need to call some ace highs here? Absolutely. Absolutely. We'll call. I don't think it's always going to be a call, but I think we have to call sometimes. All right, it's pure call. Turn again. We're getting a little too sticky. So I'm just putting in some chips in spots where I shouldn't, and then not being 100% sure about river spots where I should be. So I assume, like, you know, we are still... okay, we're not folding a lot of ace high. I mean, we're folding some, but I guess they only bet 4 into 20, so we just have to defend so much for our range. This board, we are going to bet. I do think checking is going to be fine. I am not clicking this back. We're just going to call. $23. Open-ended straight draw. I am still ahead of 10-7. I am still ahead of 6-7. I am still ahead of some flush draws. I am not ready to fold. Damn it. Look! Oh, okay, they have 7-8. We just got to fold. My thoughts here right out, like, we can bluff on spade rivers. We can make some straight still, but just not getting the right price. All right, one more attempt at a streak. I'm not ready to die just yet. This board has a lot of checking. Definitely want to have some strong hands. I'm gonna check again. And I'm gonna receive your hand on the river. They have a straight, they have a flush, they win. Yeah, both heavy mixes, which it kind of feels like it's gonna be. All right, we're gonna turbo through it a little bit more just because I wanna try and get a streak going. I don't, again, feel like this is the most efficient of bluffs, so we're just going to check. I can't throw in the towel like that. That can't be the end. I'm not sure exactly what my stats have been so far today. I feel like I've been about where I thought I would be. We'll bet. We will bet. Some checking. I would definitely, like, on this board, on 5-4-3, like, this is where I would have, like, aces and kings a reasonable amount, right? Like, look how much we're checking these. But 9s, 8s, 10s, a little bit more vulnerable. Kind of want to bet them. Wait, was that the checking range for... No, okay, yeah, okay. No, I seen the 9-8 and I thought that was the 9s. And I was like, what? No, all right. One in a row. Cheeky little 11 and we're happy out. So 7-6-5 is a board we see some leading. I don't think there's a huge amount of raising in my shoes here, but this hand feels like it could. All right, well, I'm just going to call. I actually think it's really, really tough to raise this turn. Like, I would go as far as say that I would never raise this turn. So I'll be interested to see. Maybe there's some of this, but I wouldn't find a raise here. How do I bluff? Ace 10 with the ace of spades. Yeah, I'm going to go all in. It is them who has the ace of spades. Yeah, I just want to check on the turn. Do we ever raise? I mean, I find some raises. Of course it does. Flush, flush. Straight. Flush. Alright, it's not getting too out of line. It doesn't like my size. A little bit too greedy, some would say. Alright, we're going for one more attempt at a streak. I'm not ready to fail just yet. I'm not gonna bluff just yet. I'm gonna fold on the turn. No. That doesn't count. That doesn't count. It doesn't count. You didn't see that, please. You did not see that. I am not this bad. All right, here we go. Turbo streak. That's not a pure fold, apparently. Okay. Check. Raise to 14. All right. First, a slightly smaller raise. I am going to bet. I am going to double barrel. Sometimes, and this time is one of those times. So we're never checking, but the sizing, it prefers slightly smaller. As you can see here, like, we're going to be betting this size a lot. It's just one of those boards where when they don't check raise the flop, we just have an asymmetry, all the overpairs. We just have a lot stronger range, especially when they just call. So I can't bring myself to check here, so I'm going to overbet. This is a spot where clicking it back actually feels kind of good. But after overbetting the flop and getting raised, I think I should mostly continue by calling. And this is obviously very, very standard stuff. There's, we can't get it wrong on the river. I just want to check, does it ever click it back? It doesn't hate it, but it doesn't do it. A little bit of Jack 8, a little bit of Queens, mostly just calling. Like, when you overbet and someone raise, it's kind of hard. They just have a straight. I'm not surprised. The bot doesn't even bluff. All right, this is our last attempt at a streak, and this one is going to be a fold, I think. All right, 5 in a row. Give me 6 more. Let me set my record. 9-8 tray. We have 2 overs. We have a good shot. I like calling. Kind of like leading. But I don't know personally. I just don't know how to do it correctly 100 big blinds deep. Like, I have all my 3x with backdoor flush draws still. I'm going to lead small. Damn it. Pure check. Pure check. All right. I'm going to leave it at that. We played about 30 hands, maybe a little bit more. As you can tell, I'm quite inexperienced in the DTO Cash, but this tool is so good and so powerful that I'm looking forward to getting into it. I'm looking forward to a deep dive. I don't know if I'll be able to make it all the way up to Zoom 500 because I know those games are very tough, but I'm going to do everything I can. And I'm going to start streaming it regularly on easywithaces.tv, me playing DTO Cash and watching my journey from recreational cash game player to hopefully acceptable mid-stakes reg. I really appreciate you watching. If you want to get in the comments, let us know what you would like to see. That would be fantastic. See you later.